So as the title suggests, I beat Bloodborne, right? It is currently 6:23 in the morning. I just fell asleep as soon as I got home yesterday, so I didn't even get to record a video. But yeah, I beat Bloodborne, finally. Last video I made about Bloodborne was a couple months ago, and it was me fighting this spider, or a rock spider, inside of one of the Chalice dungeons that's offered in Bloodborne. And after that, I think all I did was defeat Vicar Amelia. I'll put pictures up so I could like help you guys like remember who is who and stuff like that. But the last thing I remember is fighting Vicar Amelia, and that's it. I didn't know where else to go after that, and then I just stopped playing the game. Now, why did I stop playing the game? There's obviously a bunch of reasons. You know, First Descendants came out. You know, the Silent Hill 2 remake came out. Then I started playing Persona 3. So that took a large chunk of my time. I couldn't really find the time to really find a reason to get back to Bloodborne. But, you know, I beat Persona 3. Spoilers, I'll make that in another video. But yeah, I finally had a reason to hop back on Bloodborne. I was like, you know what? I need to start getting these games that I started, and I needed to like finish them so I could play other games. Because personally, I don't like starting other games when I have other ones currently going on. It just doesn't sit right for my conscience. So now that I did that, let me tell you exactly what happened. So after, you know, hopping back on, trying to get the feel for the game again, I was like, okay, I genuinely just have no idea what to do. I think the last thing I remember, other than, you know, Vicar Amelia, is getting teleported to the Hyposian jail. I think that's how you say it, but essentially there was this tentacle monster in I think it was Old Yarnum or some area near that, where there was this like tentacle monster, and he kind of grabbed me and started sucking me up. Pause on that, by the way. And it teleported me to a different area, kind of like a jail cell of some sort. And once I made my way through the jail cell, there was only two ways. There was only really two ways to go, and that was either to this boss fight or to this other limited open area. Now, for this open area, there wasn't really much to, I guess you could say, explore or see. I mean, you know, it was kind of like a church of some sort. You walk out, you can only either go left or right. Left was blocked off with like a pig in one of the corners, and then the right was also blocked off. You know, once you did all that, there was only one other way to go, and that was to defeat the boss, which was Dark Beast Parl. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that there was a summon for that fight, so I think it took me like 2 tries. Other than that, I mean, not really that hard of a boss. I mean, given during this time I had gone through at least like 8 to 10 Chalice dungeons, so I might have been over leveled, but I just genuinely did not know what to do like in the game. So I was like, you know what, let me just go through some of these dungeons, and I guess I'll just, you know, finish them out. So after that, I defeated Dark Beast Parl, and I was like, okay, I just don't know what to do next. So luckily it was like 4 a.m. My friend was with me, and he was like, have you defeated this boss yet? Because he was actually still playing Bloodborne, but he just, like me, just dropped it off and didn't finish it. So he was helping me, you know, find my way through the game and stuff like that. Eventually, he got me all the way to, I think, Mikolash, which is the guy who runs around the library. Yeah, fuck that guy. This guy would not stop running around. And it wasn't even the fact that he kept running around that got me pissed. It was the fact that during his, I guess you could say, second phase, you know, for his first phase, we would fight him. You know, he would do this one tentacle attack. Okay, fine, whatever, easy to dodge. But he had this second attack, which was kind of like, I guess you could say, how in Elden Ring, when you have that one Chaos Frenzy spell where he grabs his face, and all of a sudden all these like frenzy orbs just start flying everywhere. It was kind of like that, but it was more, I guess you could say, a holy attack from Dark Souls, where it would spawn light balls, but then they would track you. Dude, that was the most stupid, busted move I have ever seen. I would get hit with one orb, and it would take my whole health bar. I don't even know how I even managed to defeat him. I think I just pressured the shit out of him, and I just ended up staggering him out of his spell. And it was so dumb. I actually did not like that fight, but it wasn't hard. I think it took me like 3 tries or 4 tries to get through it. After that, you know, I forgot who the next boss is after that, but I think I was just trying to like finish out some of the optional bosses. So my friend decided to point me towards a direction because his last boss was Mikolash, but he was like, after that, you know, you go into these other areas, or you go into this like forest. It's kind of like Darkroot Basin, if I had to explain or like describe it. It was kind of like Darkroot Basin. I think there was a boss there. I can't remember exactly. But there was this one guy who was eating bodies and it was asking to go to the healing ward in the cathedral, I think it was. Or the healing church, what was it? So I was like, yeah, buddy, you're weird. You're eating corpses, so I'm going to kill you. And I didn't expect him to turn into this like 20-foot tall rabid werewolf or a lycanthrope, whatever you want to call it, beast that would attack me. He was a little tanky. You know, one of his attacks caught me off guard, but I ended up defeating him first try. And yeah, he was a weirdo. Like, why would I send a guy who's standing over like 3 corpses, eating them, to a church where I'm sending like survivors of the hunt? Why would I do that? So I decided to fight him. I forgot what he drops. I actually don't remember what he drops, but other than that, I don't think it was that important. So after that, he decided to point me towards this like snowy castle of some sort. I don't know what the boss was called, but it had like a scythe and a sword with it, if I remember correctly. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a cool boss. I forgot what his name was, but that was a really cool boss. I wish I got to like fight him more and not first try him. But sadly, I'm just that good of a parry guy. Like, out of all the Souls games I have played, I went through all the Dark Souls games, I've been through Elden Ring, but Bloodborne was the one game where I could actually confidently parry. And it was consistent parrying. Like, throughout the whole game, if a boss was some type of like humanoid or something I know had like, I guess, a long wind-up attack, I would just simply parry it. Like every boss, I would say, throughout the whole game, 80% of the bosses that I fought, maybe 85%, were just parry victims. And it made me have this kind of like power high. It was great. Oh, I loved it. Like Gascoigne or Gascoigne, yeah, he's a parry victim. Vicar Amelia, sadly not. Dark Beast Parl, sadly not. Cleric Beast, no, I just mollied him to death. Blood-Starved Beast, I literally just defeated him simply. But man, that boss at the snowy tops, sadly not Mikolash either. I was actually kind of sad that he didn't have any like other basic attacks that I could like parry, but he just didn't have any poise, so I was just destroying him. Gehrman was a parry victim. I forget if the Moon Presence also, because I did fight the Moon Presence. I'll get to that. But yeah, after that snowy boss, he was a parry victim, killed him easily. First tried him, I think. After that, I went to fight Rom, which is like the same spider boss that I fought in that Chalice dungeon, but you know, an actual like mainline boss. Defeated him easily because I knew the strats of the fight. I guess you could say just defeat all the small spiders and then fight the main spider. After that, I think it was Murdo or whatever enemy that you see this like pale white lady with a bloody stomach. I don't know who she was or how she plays a part in the story. I just know her name is Queen Yarnum, which sounds like super cool. But there was this boss that it had like a little cinematic where it had like an empty baby carriage, but there was no baby in it. But this boss looked like, I don't even know if this is like a good like comparison to make, but kind of like a Gravelord Nito, but without all the skulls and bones poking out of his body. So I beat that boss. That was easy enough. I did it in like 2 tries. Then the next one that I had after that was obviously the end of the game. Now, at this point, I did not have 3 umbilical cords. I knew what they were, like, going into it, but I was like, I actually don't know how to get them. So I was like, do I need this to fight the mood presence? And my friend was like, yeah, you actually do. So I was like, all right, whatever. You know what? I'll go get them. So I ended up going to get the 3 umbilical cords. That was really long-winded, to be honest. I think one of them was I couldn't get because I had already progressed too far into the story. Because apparently once you defeat Rom, that's basically like, you know, the turning point of the game. The whole world changes. The nightmare shows its true form, and you start to see all these like amygdalas or amygdalas, whatever you want to call it. Oh, that's another one I forgot to mention. I decided to go fight amygdala. I saw patches. Amygdala was actually a cool fight, but it was just a landslide. I think I was just over leveled. This happens to me a lot in all of the Souls games. I don't know how it happens. I know for Bloodborne I did the Chalice dungeon, so it made me over leveled, but for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, for some reason I find myself getting into these situations where I'm just over leveled by the last like 4 bosses of the games, especially Dark Souls 3, because it got to the point where I was literally taking 2 tries at the most for each boss, such as Pontiff, I forgot what that one boss was where it had that one guy who kept teleporting and it had his little brother on the back. I forgot that boss. Yeah, anyways, that I don't know why I get so over leveled, but yeah, Amygdala was a landslide. Then I got to the point where I was like, okay, now that I have all 3 umbilical cords, let's start this fight. So I consumed the 3 umbilical cords before fighting Gehrman. And again, Gehrman was just a parry victim. It was ridiculous. But I will say this. I think that was the most fun fight I have ever experienced in Bloodborne, for the sole purpose that me and him were just parrying each other back and forth. It was honestly cinematic as heck. Like, I didn't know who was going to win because we just kept parrying each other and our health bars would just get deleted. But at the end, I came out on top first try. Not to flex or anything, but that was a very fun fight. After that, the moon presence came. I think it took like 3 tries on that. Just because that one mechanic that it has where it screams and you're basically turned to 1 HP. And I kept freaking out every time that the moon presence did that. So I didn't know whether to heal or just stay away. So I kept trying to heal the first couple times seeing it. But then I think the second or third time, basically when the moon presence gets to like a third health, it does it again where it takes you to 1 HP, but you can't use any healing items for a while. Now for me, I didn't know that I would just have to literally walk up to it and keep hitting it because it was basically frozen in that animation. So once I learned that I'll just have to like rush it, I was just like, you know what? All right, let's do it. So once I did that, I beat it easily and I ended the game. Now what I don't understand is, why did I turn into a tentacle monster at the end of the game? That was really random and weird. It didn't even like show like a cinematic at the end of the moon presence fight where like I just fall to my knees and just kind of collapse. It literally just moon presence beaten, and then the doll picks up a tentacle monster that happens to be me. It was really weird. I need to watch like an explanation video as to why that happened, but yeah, that happened. Other than that, Bloodborne was a fun game. Very short. I'm not gonna lie, if you know what you're doing, it'll be a very short game. I mean, given you would have to skip out on all the Chalice dungeons, but very short game. I think this is probably the shortest game out of all the Souls I've played so far. Other than like, what, Dark Souls 1, maybe? But yeah, like that's a really short game. I'm kind of sad that it was short, given I think I did spend the most time on Bloodborne, given because it was the Chalice dungeons I was spending a majority of my time at. But if we're talking about like, you know, just doing the main parts of the game, that's really short. Other than that, I mean, like, all the other Souls games I've played have been like sub 20, like playthroughs. But I think Bloodborne I finished with like 23 hours. That was a fun 23 hours. Didn't really stress out that much on any parts of the game, but nonetheless, good game. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys like what you saw and heard today. And other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.